Okay, so you come to me as I undo the gearbox. Just had a failure. I believe it's the piston, and I've got a new piston here which I've Swiss cheese. It's a SHS lightweight piston, 14 tooth, and I've tried to get rid of some of the teeth here and take off some of that tooth there. You might be wondering why I'm wearing a glove. It's just because the hand of experience, literally the hand of experience, remembers how painful it is when you get that spring pressing against the screwdriver which is in your hand, which is the balancing act of getting the gearbox open again. Yeah. Oh. Here we go. There it is. Alright. Cool. So that's my M140 spring, and wow, you can see right there what the problem is. That is a part of the piston. So I've got those G&P bushings in there. That's the spring guide with 6 spaces on it, plus it's got it's like a bearing spring guide, but not that it particularly turns or anything. But yeah, right here is the obvious cause of the problem. It's a complete failure right there. So interesting to note that actually the teeth on the piston are looking to be in pretty decent condition. There's a little bit of face wear, but it's not too bad. But you can see right here there is a crack right down here. Interesting to see. Oh wow, yeah, there you go. Right in there. That is just completely cracked off. So presumably it's the force of that going backwards against it has just completely destroyed that bit and taken that off out of there. Well, there you go. Let's just have a little quick inspection of the rest of the gearbox. Just see how it's all doing. So this is about 3,000 rounds in. That tappet plate seems to be in pretty good condition. Seems to be doing the trick. There's a slight bulge just on this lower edge here. I've got a feeling that's probably from when I modified it in the first place. Yeah, that all seems good. You can see some of the marks from the port on the piston head. Let's just have a quick look at the gears here. Seems to be pretty much no wear at all on these gears, which is quite impressive. Yeah, it looks like that motor was meshing quite well as well. Had a quick look at the motor pinion gear earlier, and there wasn't any particular asymmetrical wear on it. There's a little bit of piston in there, I'll have to take that out. But yeah, I mean, all the teeth seem to be in really great condition. Alright, time to get this piston head off. That's fine. This looks to be in pretty good condition still. No wear notable. Now one of the things that I am going to do is replace this O-ring. So because it's a ported piston head, when that piston comes forward, air comes in through these holes and it inflates the piston, inflates the O-ring, which is all fine and well. But I have here some hollow O-rings, which were actually surprisingly expensive. But the point of the hollow O-ring is just, we'll see in a second. Put this in there for safekeeping. I think I've still got 3 hollow O-rings left. So the point of the hollow O-ring is it's actually hollowed out on the inside, so it's a U shape like that. The point being that it's easier for it to be inflated. And I'm actually going to let that soak overnight in a small bit of silicone oil. So just a quick kind of weight comparison between these 2 pistons. They are definitely made of different materials, and I think it's interesting that it was the plastic that cracked on here rather than the metal, because so I mean, in terms of the difference between these 2 on the plastic side, this one is definitely a lot more brittle. It's also slightly thicker than the SHS piston, so this is a element piston, but this isn't as brittle as the plastic on the element piston. And actually what I'm hoping is that because it's got slightly more give on it, that cracker's just the that's the super glue I used, because it's got slightly more give than this does. I mean, this is not flexing at all, but this has got a little bit of give there. I'm hoping it'll be actually more durable to the stresses that will come up. One thing I did notice was that the metal on the teeth were a little bit softer on this one. So as you can see, in addition to it being a little bit hollowed out already, I've done some extra Swiss cheesing on top. Okay, that should hold it nicely. And actually that's a pretty lightweight piston right there, which is quite nice. I'm going to let that soak overnight and come back to it tomorrow. Alright, it's the next day. I've put some Teflon grease on the gears. I've also cut down the sorbothane pad in here, so it's a couple of millimeters shorter. I've also had to take off a little bit more from this tooth here, just here, just because even with the angle of engagement corrected, this still wasn't quite clearing that first tooth, so I've just taken that down a little bit. Now I'm going to put on the hollow O-ring. So this has been sitting in silicone oil overnight, so it should be nice and lubricated, and it should have soaked up some of that silicone oil. Feels pretty plump, which is good. So now I'm going to just test the compression out. Yeah, that's good. That's not gonna move at all. Great. So now I'll start putting it back together, and I'm gaming with it tonight, so I'll be able to test it out then. It should be good. Let's get this spring back on. Good, that moves freely. Cool. And I've got the main spring here with I've now got, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 piston spacers stacked up on the back, and it's now time for my least favourite part of all, which is putting this spring back in. Wow, I think that was probably the least drama I've ever had putting a spring back in. Okay, so I've just connected this up, hit the battery in, and here it is. And here's 3-shot burst. Great. Now it's chrono. Right, just loaded some .2s, got the gun back together. Let's see what it's shooting at. Ooh. I think it's going all the way through the box now. Cool. So basically it's around about 270, which once again is good enough for CQB. I'll pick those up in a sec. Just check the 3-round burst is working. Great. Seems we're all back up and running for tonight.